More than 400,000 people clicked over to the voter registration link Swift provided in the 24 hours after that post went live. Taylor Swift is like a nuclear arsenal. I don't think something this powerful should exist, but since it does, I'm glad she's on our side. Hello, everybody. Wow. Welcome to Love It or Leave It at the Bourbon Room. But first, let's get into it. What a week. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump met for the first time at their presidential debate on Tuesday night, with Harris offering her hand for a handshake after the two walked out and Trump accepted. That must have been a tough call for Kamala. On the one hand, it's a power move, bitch. On the other hand, you know it's got to feel like having your fingers swallowed up by an uncooked chicken. It's not important, but like, as part of the handshake strategy, you think you want to do something like a little weird with your hand? You know that thing where somebody like scratches the inside of your hand on the handshake? You feel weird after? What's he gonna do, talk about it? In an early exchange on abortion, Trump elicited this fact check from ABC moderator Lindsay Davis.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
Not even if it's baby Hitler? Trump shot back, winning the debate instantly. Harris turned to Trump and addressed him directly during an impassioned defense of abortion rights.
You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot? She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that.
It is such a relief to see a Democratic candidate make this argument with the force and feeling it deserves right in Trump's unique face. This must be how casting directors feel when it's 10 hours of auditions for a period film. No one's been able to say the lines because their blindingly white veneers are too big. You haven't seen one person with buccal fat, and then just when you're losing hope, Olivia Colman walks in. Trump also repeatedly refused to say that he would veto a national abortion ban if it came to his desk, because he would sign it. And he's going to try to ban abortion nationally by executive order if he can get away with it. Yes, Trump is saying he may order a side salad, but he's not saying he won't eat fries because he knows damn well that the plan is fries for the table. Too glib? Starting about half an hour in, Harris began baiting Trump relentlessly.
And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. He talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you.
Now Trump prepped by his team of elite advisors to be happy Trump and focus on policy, refused to take the bait. Instead, he pivoted to his prepared hit to tie Kamala Harris to Joe Biden and Americans' concerns about the border.
First, let me respond as to the rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics.
It's crazy that Kamala got under his skin so easily when a bullet bounced right off of him. I don't know. What do you think? Leave it in? It's okay. All right. The ear looks fantastic. No. In that same answer, Trump then went fully off the rails, repeating the lie about Haitian immigrants abducting and eating pets.
Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
The bard at his best. A fantastic, I believe, trochaic dimeter. I don't know. That's what it is. Might be anapest. I don't remember what anapest is. I feel so bad for low information voters who tuned into this debate to try to figure out what's going on. It's like turning on a random season of Selling Sunset and going, I'm sure I can catch up. No. You don't even know which bald twin Chriselle dated before that Australian turned her gay. Here's how Trump reacted to a fact check of that lie.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say.
Continue, Trump. Why, I'm on television saying it right now. There's one aspect of this. It's not the most important part, but Trump says twice that cities are embarrassed, they don't want to admit what's taking place. And in response to Muir, Trump says, well, sure, of course the city manager is going to say that. And I do think that is worth pointing out that what's going on here, which is Trump's position is that city officials are dealing with an uptick of local pets being eaten by out-of-towners, but don't want to talk about it because I guess it's bad for tourism. Both the mayor of Springfield and Ohio governor and Republican Mike DeWine confirmed this week that there is no credible evidence of Haitian immigrants eating people's pets. Said DeWine, this is something that came up on the internet, and the internet can be quite crazy sometimes. Yeah, first that dress was 2 different colors, and now this. Crazy. But back to the debate. After Trump lied about having had nothing to do with January 6th and continued to insist that he won the 2020 election, Harris hit him with this line.
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that.
Okay, that's sort of unfair to Trump because, of course, it's hard to process it. Most of his processing power is being spent stopping himself from saying the N-word and the C-word during this debate. It's like how crypto takes the energy of Denmark. That's what it is. When pressed on whether he had a plan to replace Obamacare, Trump said this.
Yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan.
I do want to point out, in 2015, Trump said he would, quote, replace Obamacare with something terrific. During the presidential transition, before he took office, he said his Obamacare replacement was very much formulated down to the final strokes. Then, in 2019, as Axios points out, he promised his Obamacare replacement would come after the 2020 election. Quote, if we win the House back, keep the Senate, and keep the presidency, we'll have a plan that blows away Obamacare. He even went so far as to say, we're signing a healthcare plan within 2 weeks. A full and complete healthcare plan. Donald Trump makes George R.R. Martin look like Stephen King. It has been almost a decade since Trump said his Obamacare replacement was formulated down to the final strokes. Talking about writing something for a decade instead of actually writing it, most relatable Trump has ever been. But that's just who Trump is, a perfectionist. Want to talk about writing for the rest of your life? Coffee shops all over this town. Pull up a chair. And then, in a moment of frustration, Trump blurted out this gem.
Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison.
It's tough for Trump that by the time he said this, he was so sputtering and angry and manic that he sounded nuts, when this is like not an unfair rendering of a very reasonable position, which is people held in federal custody should have access to necessary medical care as prescribed by the doctors and nurses providing that care. I'm sorry, this just in. Shut up, John, just let him sound nuts. That's crazy, am I right? If Kamala's victory wasn't clear from the strange lightness in all of our chests, take it from the voters. In a CNN Snap poll of debate watchers, 63% thought Harris won and 37% thought Trump won. Now it's time to sit back, relax, and wait to see if undecided voters think it's off-putting when a woman wins the debate. Something about that I don't like. Even Fox News' Brit Hume had to hand it to her.
And she was composed, she was prepared, she kept her cool, she saw advantages, she took them, she baited him successfully, which is the story of the debate in my view. So she came out ahead in this, in my opinion, no doubt.
Yeah, sure. Democrats in North Carolina are applauding Dick Cheney, we're applauding Brit Hume. It's okay. It's okay. Brit Hume is one compliment away from saying she was a pleasure to have in class. On Wednesday, Trump called into Fox and Friends to whine about the moderators.
I think we did great. It was 3-1. It was a rigged deal, as I assumed it would be, because when you looked at the fact that they were correcting everything and not correcting with her.
It's so unfair. I was throwing food and silverware at the waiter, and other people were also present at the restaurant. And yet only I was asked to leave. The work in the refs, like the moderators are to blame, it's absolutely killing me. Like, obviously there's he's lying the whole time, so they're going to fact check him more than they fact check her. Even the way they had to fact check her after to make it seem like it's fair was ridiculous, because the fact checks of Kamala Harris are like, well, technically that's not a combat zone, but the fact checks of Donald Trump are like, actually they're not eating dogs in the Midwest. But even if you put that aside, like, Kamala was so good in that debate that she made dodging hard questions, of which she got several, look easy. She didn't take the bait. She turned them on Donald Trump. That answer where she talks about how Trump was, that people are walking out of his rallies because they're bored, that question was about immigration, one of the toughest questions she got in the whole debate, but she immediately figured out how to set a little trap for Trump. But it wasn't even like a well-built trap. It was a hole in the ground that just said, hey, Trump. There's McDonald's down there. It's like, this is not my fault. I'm down here because of unfairness. And there's no McDonald's. Following the debate on Tuesday night, as if we weren't having enough fun, Taylor Swift came out in support of Kamala Harris. We got Taylor Swift. We got Dick Cheney. All we need is some YouTuber I've never heard of who reviews public bathrooms for tens of millions of viewers, and we just might win this thing. In her Instagram post, the singer said she was moved to clarify her stance after Donald Trump reposted an AI endorsement claiming Swift was backing him, which is a reminder, we need an AI image where Taylor claims she would never go on Love It or Leave It. Let's get that out there. I'm Taylor Swift, and I would never go on that gay podcast. Taylor said of Harris, I think she is steady-handed, gifted. I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are led by calm and not chaos. You know what I appreciate about Taylor Swift? If she's going to endorse, she's going to do the research into the most effective message. Calm over chaos, she does the work. She's Pete Buttigieg in a leotard, and I mean that as a compliment in both directions. The singer ended her endorsement with a sign-off with love and hope, Taylor Swift, childless cat lady. That proves it. She's pregnant and it's Carly, said a pansexual Swiftie with bloodshot eyes in front of her 6 computer monitors. And in case you didn't wake up to find your skin crawling across the room, Elon Musk also weighed in on the Taylor Swift endorsement. I know. How many of you are oohing because you're afraid of what it is? And how many of you are oohing because you know what it is? What's wrong with us? That makes me so sad. I would have been so much better for all of us if I got to tell you, because what it would represent about you not knowing. Something to think about. We'll work on it after the election. Just put it on the list of things we work on after the election. Here's what Elon tweeted. He said, "Fine, Taylor, you win. I will give you a child and guard your cats with my life." Then Musk reached into a big pile of babies, grabbed one by the scruff of the neck, and tweeted, "How about this one? I think its name is Roboticus Maximus or some shit." That is the tweet of a man who doesn't know what Travis Kelce looks like or what he does for work. Megyn Kelly also lost her shit over Swift's endorsement.
Like, you can kiss your sales to the Republican audience goodbye, Taylor. Hope you enjoyed them while you had them. This is disgusting. If she wants to vote Harris Walz, she can do it all she wants. But to say the reason she's doing it is because of Tim Walz's stance on LGBTQ, F you, Taylor Swift.
Megyn Kelly's surprise would make sense if Taylor Swift hadn't also encouraged people to vote against Marsha Blackburn in 2018 and for Joe Biden in 2020. In fact, during the Eras tour, she said from the stage during Pride, and I quote, "There have been so many harmful pieces of legislation that have put people in the LGBTQ community and queer community at risk. That's why I'm always posting. This is when the midterms are. This is when these important key primaries are." She also encouraged her fans to do the research into politicians, asking, are they advocates? Are they allies? Are they protectors of equality? This is during the Eras tour. She's been doing this for years. Could she do more? Of course, but more than 400,000 people clicked over to the voter registration link Swift provided in the 24 hours after that post went live. Taylor Swift is like a nuclear arsenal. I don't think something this powerful should exist, but since it does, I'm glad she's on our side. Meanwhile, when asked this week what he would have done if he was in Mike Pence's shoes on January 6th, Jared from Subway Part 2 Vance said, they're getting a little Baroque. He said he wouldn't have certified the election. Either way, it's a good thing Vance wasn't in Pence's shoes that day. Pence would have never escaped that mob barefoot. There's glass all over the ground. They tried to kill him. Delaware State Senator and friend of the show, Sarah McBride, won her Democratic primary for Delaware's lone House seat on Tuesday. She now is likely to be elected the first openly transgender member of Congress. Welcome to a workplace where half of your colleagues hate you before you've even set foot through the door. You'll get used to it, said Josh from marketing, who makes tuna melts at 11 a.m. every day and signs his emails, cheers. Speaking of groundbreaking women, Melania Trump released a bizarre series of videos this week. She really did. It's wild. As she's promoting her forthcoming memoir, Melania. Let's take a listen.
The attempt to end my husband's life was a horrible, distressing experience. Now, the silence around it feels heavy. I can't help but wonder, why didn't law enforcement officials arrest the shooter before the speech?
Okay, that does it. As they bandaged up my husband's ear, I couldn't help but wonder, is there something I wasn't hearing? Foo Fighters frontman. Whatever. We're going to talk about it. Dave Grohl announced on Tuesday that he'd fathered a child outside of his 20-year marriage. Well, there goes your hero. Wow, is he here? Two incredible bands, two incredible families. This guy never stops working. That is so surprising. Aren't you surprised, Kennedy, by the reaction to the Dave Grohl section? We were laughing. Maybe you're right. You're right. We're wrong. We're broken. These are people. You're right. Note taken. We'll leave that in, but still, let's have the feeling. Remember how we felt about it. Speaking of people trapped in a tomb of their own making, researchers analyzed the remains of people buried in a Milanese crypt. Milanese. The remains of people buried in an Italian crypt. In the 1600s, they found evidence that Europeans were using cocaine centuries earlier than previously thought. But researchers couldn't tell because it seemed like they really had their shit together. This does feel obvious. No one's ever said, I have an idea for an opera while not on cocaine. 2 astronauts completed the first ever commercial spacewalk on Thursday morning in a collaboration between SpaceX and billionaire entrepreneur Jared Isaacman. Said Isaacman, while standing in the hatch back at home, we all have work to do. But from here, Earth sure looks like a perfect world. Okay, shut up, Jared. You don't get to do your one small step for man. No one cares, and we all talked about it. We're going to pretend you were never even up there. Billionaires in space. It's either the end of the bad joke or the beginning of a policy solution Jared won't like. Jon Bon Jovi successfully talked a distraught woman off a Nashville bridge this week. It's true. Because it's always darkest before the dawn, Bon Jovi. Well, that came too late. It's always darkest before the dawn, Bon Jovi. The working we did to find a way to make that happen for all of you and nothing. It's okay. It's okay. Now, as we all know, 28% of likely voters told the New York Times that they felt they needed to know more about Kamala Harris, and 2/3 of those voters specifically wanted to learn more about her policies. Another day, we can lament the fact that this is an election between a mainstream Democratic figure who will pursue popular center-left economic policies while appointing judges and officials who believe in abortion rights and gay rights and antitrust regulations and climate change and unions, while the other is the worst president in American history. But not today. Today, we're not going to judge or complain. We're going to recognize that many people aren't hyper-engaged partisans. Some people are just tuning in, and all of us are drowning in cynical bullshit designed to dispirit us while obliterating our attention spans. That's why we've invited the incredible Candace Kane to pole dance while I read Kamala Harris's policy page out loud to you now. In a special segment we're calling Poll Watchers. Wait, I'm coming over here. Hi, Jane Fonda. Is that here? Is this good? Okay. Are you ready? Am I okay? Am I okay here? Okay. Here we go. Under the Kamala Harris plan, more than 100 million working and middle-class Americans will get a tax cut by restoring the child tax credit and the earned income tax credit. They will also expand the child tax credit to provide a $6,000 tax cut to families with newborn children. Holy shit. Vice President Harris has a plan to build 3 million more rental units and homes that are affordable to end the national housing crisis in her first term. And she will cut red tape, penalize firms that hoard available homes to drive up prices for local home buyers, and sign legislation to outlaw price fixing by corporate landlords. She will also provide first-time homebuyers with up to $25,000 to help with their down payments. Kamala will expand the startup tax credit for new businesses from $5,000 to $50,000 to hit a goal of 25 million new business applications by the end of her first term. So high up. Vice President Harris will extend the Biden administration's $35 cap on insulin and $2,000 cap on out-of-pocket spending for seniors to all Americans. Her tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act gave Medicare the power to negotiate lower drug prices. As president, she'll cover more drugs. As vice president, she helped cancel $7 billion of medical debt for 3 million Americans. As president, she'll cancel medical debt for even more Americans. And that's just the beginning. So be like Candace and make sure you and your friends and families hit the polls and hit them hard. Please give it up for the wonderful Candace Kane. You can see her perform at Rocco's Rio this Saturday at the Ventura County Fairgrounds on September 28th and 29th, and follow at Sweet Miss Candace on Instagram. And if you want to help get other voters, and if you want to help get voters' attention but can't quite get your ankles behind your head, go to votesaveamerica.com/2024 and sign up to volunteer. When we come back, Kumail Nanjiani's here. Oh, Candace Kane, come on. Wow, did you see that? Jane Fonda, did you see that? All right. Candace Kane, everybody. Amazing.